What's up? Hey YouTube, thank you for watching. Just in case you're wondering, I know some people will probably comment that this is all messy. This is my art studio, okay? My art studio is in my room, so it's in this back corner over here. So that's all my art supplies, if you're wondering. Alright, so what everyone probably clicked in here for is the Tilted Kilt. So my personal experience working at the Tilted Kilt, where do I even begin with it? I'm not going to be saying a whole bunch of bubbly good things about the Tilted Kilt because, well, how do I put this? My time there was very stressful, to put it in a nice way, and people were so rude. The girls, most of the girls, not all of the girls, like half the girls were pretty chill, but like the other half were not cool at all. The kitchen workers was basically like borderline sexual harassing us on a daily basis. And then the managers just like chose sides. So basically, this is where it all begins. I had just started at Olive Garden and I was looking for another job, another serving job. I hadn't done any serving. I've done banquet serving prior to this, but that's a completely different. Like, you didn't take orders, you just delivered food. Basically, you just run food and take care of refills and all that kind of jazz. Well, okay, time out. If you don't know what the Tilted Kilt is, if you've ever heard of Hooters, it's kind of in that same chain. It's like what they call a breastaurant, because, you know, for boobs and all that jazz. Well, the Tilted Kilt is a little different. I'll show a picture right now. And as you see, the outfit is a little bit more revealing. You know, it's whatever. You know, people wear worse things to the beach, to the swimming pool. I didn't really mind it too much. You know, I was a swimmer my whole life. It just didn't really bother me, the costume. So, that was fine. But, basically, I went and applied because I knew you could make a lot of money because, yes, you're using your body and your looks, and people do tip more. You know, it's more full experience, and I knew you could make a lot more money. I kind of did my research on it too. And so I was like, oh, I really need a lot more money. You know, I'm working 2 jobs. I need a lot more money. This would be great, you know? So I applied, I got the interview, the day of the interview. I was super nervous. I always get so nervous on interviews. It's something that happens. I'm always like, oh, I'm such a perfectionist, so I want to make sure I do great. But, you know, I was bringing out my confidence side. I was doing really great, and you know, the manager was really liking me, and she mentioned, oh, you know, you don't really have a lot of serving experience, and I said, yes, but I have banquet serving experience, and I'm a pretty quick learner, so, and I've worked in a lot of customer service jobs before, and she said, alright, well, basically, come on, try this on, you know, the outfit works, you look good in it, we'll have you start training this next week. So I was like, great, you know, I got the job, I'm going to start training. And everything seemed pretty cool. She explained that like there's policies, and I mean this is kind of to be expected, but as working at like Hooters or Tilted Kilt or any of those kinds of places, you really have to keep your look up. So like what I have right now with all my makeup and everything would be acceptable. You need to have at least like, you have to have makeup on, and then you have to have your hair done. You cannot come in with crazy hair. You have to look put together, and you have to be what they called an entertainer. That's what your job description is. It's not a server, you're an entertainer. And you're not dancing, like people aren't tipping you because you're dancing. It's just, it's a bar, it's a fun experience. You're supposed to be fun and inviting. So continue on to the training. There's so much to learn. You know, I'm still new to all the serving kind of world, and at first serving it's pretty difficult. Once you get into the rhythm of it, it's a lot easier. Especially if you work at the same restaurant, it gets a lot easier because you know everything. You know what to do. Well, there was so much, and I was kind of thrown into everything, and that's fine. That's like a normal restaurant. But I can immediately tell that like the girls there, I don't come from a very popular background. I wasn't very popular in high school. I was more of the nerdy kid, and I got made fun of a lot. And so I am a little bit more awkward. I'm a little bit more introverted, I guess you could say. I do have a lot of energy, and I would say I'm pretty bubbly, but so I can get along with people, a lot of different types of people now, but back then it was a little bit harder for me, and so I was a little bit more nervous and like, oh, you know, like, oh, is everything okay? Like, I want to please everyone. I'm a big people pleaser. I want to make everyone happy. You know, I don't like having enemies. Yeah, it's annoying. Sorry. It's just, that's how I am. See, there I am saying sorry for myself. So, anyways, continuing on. Well, everything was going fine. I was training, you know, they didn't give me tons of tables. I passed the test, everyone helped me, it was pretty okay at that point after training. And you know, they told me, you know, most girls don't get past training. Most girls don't last a month or two, which should have been a warning sign. Like, that most sane people don't want to work there. But I didn't listen to that. Well, continuing on, basically, it started going way downhill. And the perks to this job, let's just talk about the perks. You could go up to a table and kind of not be rude, but you could kind of be like put on a front and be kind of like, excuse me, what are you doing? And kind of talk back to your table. You could cuss. You could have a lot of fun with your customers. And honestly, I only got 2 really creepy guests. Like, it wasn't the guys that were the issues. I mean, I'm not excusing that behavior, but it wasn't the guys that were the issues. It was everyone who worked there that was the issue. Not everyone, but... So, like for example, I'll just give you a fun example. There was this guy with his 2 friends, and guys really are about competition at bars specifically. And it was kind of a trick that you had whenever, you know, one guy is finished with a drink, you offer him a refill, and usually he'll say yes, so that it's kind of that competition thought. It's not all guys, most guys. So that was happening at this table. They were like being, yeah, la 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 la. And one guy was not drinking as fast as the other two. So I straight up told him, oh, do we need a little nipple for your drink? And his friends just started laughing. It was really funny. So we went and made him like a little like, it wasn't a real one, but we made him one out of one of our plastic cups that we had on hand. It was great. It was really funny. I had one of the other girls bring it over. It was hilarious. Like, that was one thing that was great about the job, is like you could actually have a lot of fun, and the people you met there, like you could treat them like, you know, they were your friends. So that was a good part. Well, so basically what ended up happening is it was off to a good start, and then the girls started getting pretty catty with me. And I think it was just like a hierarchy thing. I didn't really talk to a lot of the girls at the beginning, so getting to know the girls, they are very protective of their shifts, and like I wouldn't be doing everything that they wanted me to. Like if I was really busy because I was still a new server trying to learn everything, I couldn't run food always, and they would be like, you need to run food, stuff like that. And some of the girls were just catty by nature. Like, they didn't seem that bad. I could tell like some of them were a little prissy from the get-go, but they started, their catty side really started coming out. And it was horrible. It was really, really not a fun place when that started happening, because you'd be dealing with stresses from work, and then you'd have to deal with your coworkers being like assholes to you. Like, just to give you an example, this was kind of more towards the end, but I was getting done with my side work at the end of the night, and I was offering to do this other girl's side work because I had finished early and I was in a good mood, and I was like, hey, I can sweep up this area for you. I go over and I start sweeping, and she's like, oh, thank you. I start sweeping, and I thought I swept everything up because it's a big section. I guess I might have missed some stuff, or I didn't think I did. I looked around and I made sure everything was swept up. She comes over and starts cussing at me and tells me, why did you not sweep my section? Thanks a lot. And like, that was my own bleep. And she just started cussing at me, and I was like, all of this because I thought I swept her section. Like, I was doing a nice thing for her. It was stuff like that. And then the managers would get on, they had favorites. You know, I'm sure everyone has favorites, but they would make it very obvious, and they would listen, they would take input from their favorites, even if those were some of the people who were very dramatic. And so I started suffering because some of the girls didn't like me. I don't know why. I mean, I guess it could be any of the explanations that I gave before, and she was like, you're a bad server and stuff. Like I said, I was new, so maybe that was the reason. But, yeah, it was horrible. So they started not giving me shifts, and that made it even worse. And it was really bad. It was one of the more stressful places that I've worked before. And then they made this really crappy rule that you couldn't eat during your shift. And sometimes you'd be working for 6 hours at a time. Like, this is in Colorado, where the labor laws are completely different than California. And it was like you didn't take a break in that 6 hours time, you know? Well, so anyways, the next thing that was like a big issue, like I said at the beginning, was the kitchen workers. These were men, and they would basically just continuously comment on your appearance and say, "Hey, sexy baby," constantly. And more than that, and there was one guy who was like the main kitchen lead, and he would give, like, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but I don't like physical contact, and he would give really long and very, like, close hugs all the time. And some of the girls were like straight up no. I wasn't good at saying no at the time. I was very bad. That was my fault. But I didn't want to hurt his feelings, but so if I said no, I don't want a hug, he'd get upset and offended, like, and it was just like, look, I just don't want to hug you. You're being, like, it's a little too much, like, you're holding on to me, hugging me for long periods of time. And the guys would constantly comment on us, and it's like, look, we don't need this from people we work from, you know? Some people might say stuff out as customers, but they're leaving. We may not see them again. They may come back as regulars, but we don't have to deal with them, you know, like, on a I need something from you basis. And, you know, some of the girls even, this didn't happen to me specifically because I don't smoke, but, some of the girls would go out into the smoking area to take a smoking break, and they said that two of the guys followed them out there and were just watching them. Like, it was creepy. It was really creepy. They were just like, they would stare at you, they would comment at you, and it was very uncomfortable. That made things very, very uncomfortable. And a lot of the girls agreed with it, but none of them wanted to say anything. So, because the managers weren't very good. So, anyways, I made some friends there. I learned some interesting things there. And overall, I would say that I like to try and take positive things away from negative experiences because I think it helps you grow. I think the most that it really helped me with is to see that it was a really bad job and to really make me appreciate things more. So I can always compare my other jobs to that job. So, because I've dealt with very stressful work. Like, I've worked at call centers. I'm still a server. I've worked as a realtor. I've worked as, like, just lots of different, like, in retail. So, lots of different jobs. And let me tell you, this was one of the worst jobs I've ever had. And I've had some pretty bad jobs. Entry-level bad jobs. So, that's saying something. It was horrible. But it's over now. So it's all good. Thank you for watching, guys. If you want to see more videos, just go to my channel. Thank you. Have a good day.